Volume. In mathematics and physics, volume is the amount of three-dimensional space occupied by a substance or an object. So volume is stuff that is inside. Think of it as how much stuff can fit inside an object, or how much space an object can take. Example of volumes would be like 2 liters soda, specify the volume, or the water in the swimming pool is the volume, or the amount of air is needed in a room, that also is volume. The amount of concrete needed to fill a foundation of a house, or the size of your refrigerator's interior is measured in cubic feet, so that's all volume. Volume is measured in cubic units. It involves three dimensions: length, width, and height. Common units would be meter cube, or centimeter cube, or cubic feet, or liters, which is 1000 centimeters cube, milliliters, 1 centimeter cube, and so on, in gallons also. Volume of the prism and a cylinder would be always volume would be area of the base times height. You can think of it as if you have this area, then how many of them you need? You need another area, you need another area, you need another area. So you have so many areas as the height. That's why we have area of the base times the height. So the volume is always area of the base times height for any prism or anything that has straight shape, two parallel lines, base and base. So if we have a triangular prism as a straight figure, on the bottom is triangle. If this is also triangular prism, but to calculate the volume, we would need to put the figure straight. So we would need to have it as we have it on the base, and then have it straight to the other side. Then the volume would be area of the base times the height. And the volume of the cylinder also is area of the base times the height. And then volume of a pyramid of a cone is 1/3 of area of the base times height. So triangular pyramid, because in the base is triangle, or rectangular pyramid, because in the base is a rectangle or square. And then we have the cone area of the base, 1/3 times height. 1/3 area of the base times height. Sphere has different volume. Sphere has 4/3 pi r cube. Later we will learn surface area. Surface area would be 4 pi r square. But for now we focus only on the volume. So that means on the stuff that is inside the sphere. Would be 4/3 pi r cube. Example: one cake is round with 6 inches radius and height 3 inches. The other cake is square with 7 inches sides and 7 inches height. Which cake has more volume? So the first cake is round, and then it has height. So that would be nothing else but a cylinder. Has radius 6 centimeters, 6 inches, and 3 inches height. So the volume of the round cake would be area of the base. Would be area of the base. My base is circle, so in that case would be pi r square times the height. Here is the height, so would be times height. So the volume would be pi times radius is 6 square times 3. So this volume would be 36 times 3, or 108 pi. And if we use pi on your calculator, you should get 339.29. But if you use 108 times 3.14, because pi is approximated 314, your volume would be 339.12. So there is a little bit different on the rounding error. So I always suggest you use the pi button on your calculator. Type 108 times the pi button and you would get very precise area. But the rounding error is very, very small. So if we round this to the whole number, it would be 339 inches cube. That's my volume, so that's the same. And the square cake has the square. It's basically nothing else but a cube. It has 7, 7, and 7 inches high. So the volume would be, as before, area of the base. Area is square times the height. So would be 7 square times 7. Or in other words, we can write 7 cube. That's also the same. And this would give us 343 inches cube. So which cake has more volume? We can see this is 39, this is 43, so the square cake has more volume. More volume has square cake. Example 2, a rectangular fish tank measured 23 inches long, 8 inches wide, and 16 inches deep. Find the volume of the water needed to fill the 3/4 to its capacity. So we have 24 inches long, 8 inches wide, 24 and 8, and we have 16 inches tall. (16 inches) or 16 is here. So the volume would be area of the base, which is rectangle, 24 times 8, and then times height. Volume area of the base is 24 times 8, and then times height is times 16. And that gives me 3072 inches cube. Now the volume of the water, find the volume of the water, it's 3/4 of its capacity. So we simply need to multiply 3/4 times 3072. And that gives us 2304 inches cube. So the tank is filled 3/4 to its capacity. The water that is needed is 2304 inches cube. How much air is needed to fill a spherical balloon with radius 5 centimeters? So we have the sphere with radius 5 centimeters. Volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cube. So the volume is 4/3 times pi times 5 cube. 5 cube is 125, so we have 4/3 times pi times 125, and type all of that on calculator, and we should get 523.598, and so on. So approximate to the whole number would be 524 centimeter cube if we round it to the whole number. How do we round to the whole number? We want to round it to this number. We look at the next digit. If that's 5 or above, we move it up 1 unit. So this would be 4. Example 4. What is the capacity of a grain storage silo shown on the diagram? So this capacity, the volume, we need to calculate the volume of the cylinder right here, and then added the volume of the cone right here. So the volume of the cylinder, let's call it volume 1, would be area of the base is pi r square times height. Area of the base is circle, so pi r square times height. So this is equal to pi times radius is 4 square times height is 5. So this gives me 80 pi, and if I type the pi on calculator, I should get 251.327, which approximately is 251 meters cube. And now volume of a cone would be 1/3 of area of the base times height. Area of the base is circle again, so pi r square. Height is right here, so that's the same as this height. So the volume 2 would be 1/3 times pi times 4 square times 3 in that case. So would be 16 times 3, 16 pi, or would be 50.26, which is approximately 50 meter cube. So the total capacity of that silo, we would add them together. We would add 251 plus 50. So that should give us 301 meter square. So that's my capacity if I add 251 plus 50. Now another example 5. This one we need to calculate volume 1 would be this, and volume 2 would be this one. So we need area of the base, this is my base, times height. So we have 10. What is this side? We need to figure out this side. We have 3, and this one is 5. So we know all of them. We have 3, and this is 5. So volume 1, it would be base 3 times 5, and height is 10. 3 times 5 is 15, times 10 is 150 centimeter cube. Now volume 2, if this side is 3, whole is 11, 11 minus 3, that means that this side is 8. So here we have 8, the width we have 5, and the height is, this is 6, so this should be 4. So volume 2 would be 8 times 5 times 4. We have 8 here, we have 4 here. I'm sorry, we have 5 here, and the height is 4, because 6 and 4 gives us total height 10. If I multiply this, I should get 160 centimeter cube. So the total area would be 310 centimeter cube for my part A. Part B also is, we have a box, volume of a box, so it's area of the base times height, so length times width times height, so we need to figure out what is this height. If the whole one is 12 and this height is 8, so 12 minus 4, this height is 4, this height is gonna be 8. So the volume of the box is 9 times 6 times 8, so in that case is 432 inches cube. Now for the volume of the top, we see that this is my base, so I need to kind of change it. This would be my triangle right here. I need to make it standing straight, straight like this. So then area of the base is area of the triangle times my height. My height is this length, this is my height. So we can see that this is 9. The base of the triangle is 6, and that height is 4. Here is the base of the triangle. This is my base, so this is 6. The height of that triangle is 4. And then we have everything what we need. So the volume 2 would be area of the base 1/2. Base is 6 times 4. 6 times 4 times the height of the figure, so times 9. And if we type all of that on calculator, we should get 108 inch cube. So then the total area, if you add those two together, that should be 540 inches cube. Example 6. An oil storage tank in the shape of cylinder is 6 meter high and has a diameter of 4 meter. The oil tank is 2/3 full. Find the number of cubic meters of oil in the tank. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So we have a cylinder, and we have the cylinder has height 6, and they said that its diameter is right here. The diameter is 4, so whole diameter is 4. That means the radius is just half of that 2, because diameter is the one radius and another radius. So if we would like to calculate volume, would be area of the base is pi r square times height would be my volume. So the volume would be pi times 2 square times 6. So in that case, the volume is pi times 424 pi. And this should give us 75.398, which is approximately 75.4 meter cubes. And now we want to have it 2/3. Find the number of cubic meter of the oil. The tank is 2/3 full. So now we're gonna take 2/3 times, let's take the original number because that would be less rounding. That original number would be this number, 75.398, and that gives us that gives us 50.266533, and they ask us to run to the nearest tenth. So the tenth is right here. We look at the next number. So this should be 50. 50.3 meter cube. Example 7. A truck is carrying an oil tank. The tank consists of a cylinder with hemisphere on each side. So this is half of the sphere, half of the sphere. If the tank is full, how many cubic feet of oil is the tank carrying? Round your answer to the nearest hundred. So we have half sphere, and whole cylinder in the middle. So we need to first calculate volume of the cylinder. Is area of the base, which is pi r square times height. This is my cylinder, and the radius is right here. The radius is 4. So this is base would be this, base would be the circle right here. So this would be pi times 4 square times 28. This is the base, this is the height. So area of the base is circle pi r square times height. So this is equal 28 times, this would be 448 pi, which is equal to 1407.433, and so on to the nearest hundreds. So we would have 1407.43 feet cube. That's the cylinder. Now we have two half sphere. So 2 half of the ball. If we have half of the ball, total together, that give us whole sphere, whole ball. So volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cube, and the radius is 4 as well. So we have 4/3 pi times 4 cube. 4 cube is 64, and if we type all of that, we should get number 268.08257, and so on to the nearest hundreds. So it would be 268.08 feet cube. So now we need to add this number plus this number. We add them together to get total. So we will have total. We will have 1407.43 plus 268.008, and that's equal to 1675.51 feet cube. This is my total volume of the cylindrical tank. Example 8. How many liters of water are needed to fill the swimming pool if 1 meter cube is 1000 liters? So this swimming pool, as shown in the diagram, we would divide into two shapes. The first shape is the shape of the rectangle of the box, and then this is the shape of other figure, right? So the volume of the box is very easy to calculate. We would have width times length times height. So we multiply all four. So the volume 1 would be 1 times 5 times 8. So in that case is 40 meters cube. So this is the volume of that box here. Now the volume of that figure, we can see that this is my base, and that base is nothing else but the trapezoid. I'm gonna show you how to do it. So this trapezoid base, we have the base looking like this. Here is 1, here is 2, and that height is right here would be 10. Here is 1 because this is the 1 shape. This length is 10 because total is 15, and this side is 5 because that's the same side here. So 15 minus 5, the side is 10. And this deep of the pool is 2, it shows right here. So if I move this, putting standing way, I'm gonna have 1 right here, 10 right here, and 2 here. So this is my trapezoid. So this is base of the second part of the figure. So this is the base. Here is the base. And my height would be of the trapezoid would be not height of the trapezoid. This would be the depth. So this would be the volume, the height of the figure, right? Because it would be straightforward like this way. Okay, so the area of the base would be 1/2 height base 1 plus base 2. So area of the base is 1/2 times 10. Height is right here. This is my height. Base 1 plus base 2. So we have times 2 plus 1. So in that case, this is equal to 1/2. 5 times 3 is 15. Now the height, the volume of this figure is area of the base times the height. This is the height of the figure, right? Of this trapezoid. Because that trapezoid would be looking like this. This is the base and this is the height. Kind of like this. So we have the base 2, this is 10, this is 1. And now the height is 8 of this one. So volume 2, it would be 8 times area of the base. Area of the base is 15. 15 times 8. Area of the base is 15 times 8. 15 times 8 should give us 120 meter cube. So the total volume of the pool would be those two. Total volume is 40 plus 120, so that gives me 160 meter cube. That's the volume. Now, we have it right here that 1 meter is 1,000 liters. So how many liters of water? How many liters of water? So we need to multiply 160 times this 1,000 liters. So we have in liters 160 times 1,000 liters. So that gives me 160,000 of liters of water is needed to fill up this pool.